Hello and welcome again to class. Thank you so much for staying tuned. Thank you so much for being part of our success so far. Thank you so much for liking, for sharing, for subscribing. And if you've not, please subscribe, follow, share also if you've been getting good insights. I want you to follow also. Thank you so much. Now we started in the class before the previous with the Newcastle disease. This is the series of diseases or ailments that pertains to poultry birds and particularly the chicken. Now we already started with the name of the disease. Today we'll be going to the mode of transmission, the treatment and the prevention. Now, but before we do that, let me touch briefly on what we did in the previous class. We talked about the historical perspective that Newcastle disease was named after a city in the UK, England, called Newcastle. It was initially discovered in Java, in Indonesia, and then the name was seen to be pneumoencephalomyelitis. Encephalitis, sorry, I keep missing it with another ailment that I have treated previously. Now, if you missed on some of the ailments, I've done over 7 of them, please go to the previous videos, scroll back, you'll see some of those videos, you watch them, quite interesting. So it's actually pneumoencephalitis. Now, you said pneumo has to do with the lungs and encephalo has to do with the brain and also the central nervous system. That is, litis now means it's inflammation of the brain and the lungs. Now this gives us the presentation of Newcastle disease, the signs and symptoms that we looked at, that be labeled breathing. Because it affects the central nervous system, the bird tends to turn its head and it's affected. Sometimes it tremors like you have with Marek's disease. And also you see, of course, the animal will lose appetite if it's not properly positioned. The head is not properly positioned, it's not going to eat, and it's also going to lose weight. If it's already laid eggs, it's not going to lay anymore. Now it's likely to die. And we talked about how severe it is, the velogenic and the velogenic viscerotrophic Newcastle disease, and so the mild one, which is the mesogenic, and also the lentogenic, sorry, the middle level, the middle, not so severe and not mild. And then we looked at the very mild one, the lentogenic. Then that's classification based on severity. Now, and also looked at, I've also talked about the symptoms now. Now you want to get full of these things, the full discussion on this, please go to the previous videos. Thank you so much. Now let's go to today's work. Symptoms, okay, mode of transmission. Now the question, how is it born? It is born not by water, particularly it's actually by air. It's born by air. It is airborne. However, you can also find it in body fluid such as blood, such as discharges. Now this is what we talked about, the signs and symptoms that you see. So nasal discharge. Now you can see the virus there. Now what's the name of the virus that causes it? It is the Newcastle disease virus, and the strain is the avian paramyxovirus type 1, which is on the family paramyxovirus viridae, paramyxoviridae family. Now, avian paramyxovirus type 1 is a strain of Newcastle disease that causes all this. Now, it's born by the air, transmitted in the air, and that's why one of the reasons why it's very deadly. It's spread because it's in the air, it just goes around. It's also in body fluid like the saliva, you have it in the blood and other, even the feces, it comes out there. Now, how is it transmitted? It is transmitted when the animals that are healthy come in contact with the blood of the infected one, or discharges like the stool, the dropping infected one, and also it can go through the air. Now, we now looked at, we'll come to this now. We'll talk about the treatment. Now, because it is viral, or not necessarily because it's viral, more often than not, viral diseases, as we speak, as at the time of recording, most of them don't have cure. Now there are claims by some people that they can cure it, but you know, when something has to go through becomes scientifically accepted, they ought to have been repeatedly used and confirmed that this thing is done. It can perform this function. It can cure. It can take care of this ailment. Now we are yet to see such, because viral ailments has a way of viral diseases has a way of coming with different presentation, because sometimes viruses change, some kind of mutation, some kind of changing of their form, and it makes it a bit difficult for them to be arrested. Now we now look at prevention of pain. Now this is where it comes very important. Now sometimes you can be lucky when you manage this. They can be managed properly, especially when you treat for secondary diseases, because sometimes, for example, immunosuppressive Gumboro disease, it suppresses the immunity and then giving room for every other bacterial or fungal attack. So if you're able to administer strong antibiotics, you'll be able to take care of the parent. But in this case, and this case also applicable. Now let's go into prevention. Prevention, they say, is better than cure. Absolutely, because sometimes by the time you begin to cure, you're already spending money, which is an expense. Now vaccination is important. Vaccination is key. You vaccinate the birds early, and when you want to vaccinate, you start from day old. Now this is Lasota. You have the Hitchner B1 vaccine, and also you have Kumorov. Now let me actually put them in the right order. Hitchner B should come first before Lasota. Hitchner B1 and then Lasota. Now Hitchner B is actually administered in spray, by spraying, or eye drops. Now this is usually done in the hatchery. And usually at day old. So they spray the Hitchner. Now why do we call it Hitchner? It's spelled Hitch. Hitchner B1. There is a laboratory in the United States where they first discovered this. They first developed this. It's a Hitchner laboratory in the United States. Kudos to them. Now they developed this. So why do they give it in a day old, first day, and then at the hatchery, and then it is sprayed or using the or through eye drops? It's actually because of two reasons. Number one, as a priming first given before the next set Lasota, and then later Komarov will be given. Now, what is the level of severity? The virus here, the H1B virus, is actually a mild one. It's a mild virus, that is the lentogenic virus. It is actually given at day one to help boost the immunity at day old. Now it is not very virulent. It is lentogenic. Then after a few days, you'd also administer Lasota. Lasota is not done by eye drop, not by spraying. It is by drinking water, by administering, so actually taking orally. You put in the drinking water, and then I've already done. Now you have to check. I've done before in the previous video, the earlier videos, the way you administration of vaccines and the other. So you want to go back and check some of those videos. You're going to get real value. We're not going to go into this now because of time. And then this one is usually oil based. The Komarov is usually oil based, mostly when the bird is actually older, especially even from when they are grow at age up to 6 weeks and above. You start administering like this, 6 weeks and above. So vaccination. Now vaccines are not drugs. Vaccines are aimed to boost immunity by introducing the same virus. Now this HB-H9 is actually a live attenuated one that is introduced to the birds at day old. So the immune system is able to fight against it, then keep the memory of it against any future attack by the Newcastle disease virus. So vaccination is not drug, It is vaccination is not administration of drug, it's administration of vaccines, and vaccines are not drugs. They're actually meant to boost the immune system. Now, I haven't talked much about prevention using vaccination. Now, if you don't know about it, please call your local vet. You can go around and see your locality, see those who sell the drugs, ask them the vet, you'll get to know. And then another very important thing if you want to prevent Newcastle disease is the source, the beginning. Where do you source your chick? Please do from reputable hatcheries. There are hatcheries that are standard, at least they try. So you just get from reputable. If you get it wrong from day one, you're going to get it wrong. So get birds that. Now those reputable hatcheries, their level of biosecurity is actually commendable, and also they administer the HP1, including with Marex. They give them Marex disease vaccine and also HP1 for the H1B1. Then number three, you go to strict biosecurity. Biosecurity means everything biologically in order to secure your birds. You avoid people. Things you do is you restrict movement. People don't enter into your farm anyhow, including relations. Now sometimes, let me also say this, some persons that have no business with poultry can be allowed, in quotes, if they've not been. But a person who is your neighbor, a farmer neighbor, don't allow them. Now that is where the challenge comes in. You have a worker and your farm is situated in a farm settlement. You're not there. You instruct your farmers, your workers, please don't go to the next farm. Don't have dealings with them. Don't bring in their sack in. Those boys, those workers would eventually, some of them will go. More often than not, some of the boys, they can be mischievous. They have friends there, they go there to play. They walk into their farm, before you know they come back. They don't tell you, perhaps you don't even remember to ask. Now there's also sometimes, don't exchange feed sack from another farm to your own. No. Someone takes feed from your place, don't return the sack, keep the sack. Don't exchange carrying baskets used, or carrying a tray for birds. And also, the virus can come in through clothes of persons, through the clothes. Means of transmission can be, modes of transmission can be through the cloth. It can come in through through the cloth, through sacks and sacks. It can come through trays of eggs. It can come in through visitors. It can come through shoes. It can come through vehicles. So you have to be careful. And also stray birds. Avoid stray birds. Then that will now lead me to the next thing. Quarantine. When a person gives you a bird, or you buy someone else's bird, maybe the person has the economy already touched the person, and so the person is not able to feed the birds. You say, okay, please, I want to dispose my birds. You look at them, they look healthy, and the price is good. You want to buy them, please don't introduce them directly into your bird. You should have a separate pen or a separate place where you keep them for at least 2 weeks. They call it quarantining. You quarantine new birds. The reason why you keep them for 2 weeks is because if they ever have contacted or contracted any ailment or disease or pathogen, within 2 weeks, it's going to manifest. So if it's 2 weeks and maybe you extend to the 3rd week, no manifestation of ailment, then you can introduce them among your flock. Instead, otherwise don't get a chick or a chicken and then you think it's looking healthy from the outside, you now introduce it. That's a no-no, red flag. You might just get yourself into trouble. One bird from outside can carry a disease that can wipe an entire flock, over 10,000 birds within a short time. Now the thing about this, you think is funny. Let's say a person has a flock of 10,000 birds. It may surprise you. You come a day 20 dead, another day 50 dead, another day 70 dead, another day 100 dead, another day 600 dead. Before you know it, the entire farm is gone. So please don't make that kind of mistake. Then We go to proper sanitation. Of course, you go with our saying, keep clean, have foot dip at the entrance of your pen. Anyone going in should first put the leg into foot dip. Now the foot dip is made a particular place, different way to have it. At the entrance of your pen, you have water that has disinfectants in them, strong disinfectant. So their foot is always put in. People shouldn't walk into the pen with slippers or shoe that they've used all around. Dip it in the pen, in the deep foot pen. So that you go in barefooted, dip it, go in, or if you must wear your shoe, you must dip it inside the water and go in with it. So that is prevention. You take it seriously, otherwise death, you lose a lot of money. Will you not lose them? Amen. Then there's culling of affected bird. Culling means taking away. Culling can be killing, it can be taken away far or something. Now it can be burying. Now when you want to bury, you don't do surface burying. You bury deeply. You dig very well and deep and bury. Sometimes some of your farm hands may say, well, sir, why don't you give me this? If they must eat those infected birds, please tell them and insist that they cook them very, very well. Now some people will argue and say, oh, why eat them? Why don't you throw them away? Well, the thing is this, under high temperature, the virus will die. Very high temperature, they will die. So if they insist on eating, which we don't advise, but they should cook very, very, very well. Cook well, heat destroys it. Now, thank you. With this, we'll draw the curtain on Newcastle disease. Join me next time for another class. Now, if you have a question, please put on the comment section. You have something to say, comment or whatsoever. Please let us know what you feel about these things. Thank you so much. We'll see you again. Bye.